Biotech startup companies face a number of challenges getting their businesses off the ground, and part of that challenge is the cost of specialized tools and equipment. You may have seen recently on Bridge City News an interview we did with SynBridge, a company located within the University of Lethbridge that offers its space for these startup research and science-based businesses that aren't able to get their hands on the money for labs or equipment needed to conduct their research. Well, one of those startups that SynBridge helped is a company called Paramoria, started by Brent Puchalski. Brent joins us today to talk about how he's helping grain and oilseed farmers better fight fungal infections in their fields. Brent, welcome to the show. Now, you're a molecular plant pathologist. Can you tell our viewers what you do in this role and how you picked this as a career?
A molecular plant pathologist studies plant diseases, though from a more of a molecular genetics and biochemistry perspective, in addition to the usual mycology and biology. I picked this due to molecular biology becoming more crucial for solving upcoming problems and the descriptive power that it enables it. Diseases are a tight interplay between a variety of organisms and pathways, and understanding those balances enable us to better manage disease outbreaks.
Wow. Okay, so we've heard a lot recently about the federal government wanting farmers to reduce fertilizer use. So, what are the issues with using fungicide on fields? And maybe talk about how your work can even help southern Alberta farmers.
Fighting diseases for what they stand is very difficult compared to insects and weeds due to the invisibility of the nature of the disease. Is that for things such as fusarium head blight, uh, you have the disease that happens before really symptoms can emerge, and your critical window, you kind of have to guess that. So this leads to fungicides being a lot more emotionally applied at times, is that you don't know if you got it. So to make sure that you're safe, you spray it preventatively or like a prophylactic. So you apply fungicides to save your operation, and whether you have it or not, you're kind of just putting it down as an insurance policy. That can be a problem in itself just because it's expensive, and it's chemical that's going down when it might not be necessary. According to research done by Dr. Karasay and others with AAFC, potentially up to 75% of these fungicide applications might be unnecessary or unwarranted because they're either off target or they have no target. So you're spraying when no real disease is present. It must be stated that fungicides are a very powerful tool, and when they're used correctly, they provide an unprecedented level of control. It's just that farms in general around the world rely very heavily on fungicide usage, and there's a better way to handle it.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to ask you what are some of the issues with using fungicide on fields, and that would definitely be some of them.
Some of the issues with it is that despite it being used as an insurance policy, it is not an inert substance. A big example is related to fish, is that fish, when exposed to pesticides such as propiconazole, can experience sexual dysfunction and a whole host of other maladies, especially for species such as rainbow trout. And that's just kind of one example of ways in which it can really affect the environment, is that various different organisms can be very heavily affected by it. Of course, too, with soil mycology and stuff like that, you can also kill off beneficial organisms when you're applying this compound where you will.
Okay. Now, Brent, we've heard so much about the agriculture related innovation at the University of Lethbridge, and so many people at the U of L are helping farmers work smarter and save on input costs. So, what do you hope to achieve through your innovation and research at the U of L?
Um, Through this project and other things we're attempting, we hope to build with our company, hope to build a platform that's able to facilitate development of other technology and other projects that sort of fell behind on the wayside. Within the literature, I feel there is a tremendous potential for what you can do. A lot of tools that are available to fight things like drought, environmental degradation, and climate change have already been built in some capacity and then abandoned because of impact score or shinier things. From a scientific perspective, there's cooler things to do, and I feel that deciding what tools we can use because they're not in or cool at this moment of time period is a horrible way to save the planet. So we have to go with what we have already. And I'm hoping to develop more of a platform that's able to take stuff that got stuck in the literature in a way, stuck in science, and put it out there more and make it available.
Hmm. Maybe just like what specifically are you doing right now? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
What we're doing right now is we are designing a disease monitoring system for farmers' fields, which is able to report on a weekly basis exactly what sort of diseases or pathogens are present in in their fields. A lot of the tools available right now are prediction models or risk factor assessments. And we want to give farmers the actual real spore numbers and populations as they happen week by week during the growing season. In this way, we can detect disease coming in weeks before symptoms even emerge, and we can buy them a lot more time than what typically they have to react with. And so, if they do have a problem, they can respond calmly and reactively to the situation. And if they don't have a problem, they don't have to do anything. As it is right now, a lot of situations are being that um, other factors, other stressors can cause a spraying decision. So if the price is high, or my neighbor's out there doing it, or I guess it's raining a little bit more than I thought, we hope to give them a calm baseline that will enable them to react appropriately to the situation, not have to have a feeling of panic or desperation if it looks like things are bad when they actually aren't.
That makes a lot of sense. It actually takes the guesswork out of that, and you're almost giving them like a diagnosis.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really neat. So we had read actually that your father had an impact on your research. Maybe can you tell us about the work between you and your father?
This venture is kind of a joint work between us, is that I'm on the molecular side. So I am doing the molecular genetics back end of it, trying to identify a big problem with identifying species or doing diagnosis from aerial samples is that everything kind of looks the same. Is that they all a lot of the spores and a lot of the target organisms are very hard to diagnose just based off of microscopy. And so by using a molecular genetics approach, you're able to much more quickly identify what organisms you have in your field. Fred, he is on the more the field side, and he actually was the principal inventor for the trap itself. So something that's rugged, field ready, and able to sample without much input. And so we're kind of it's a unique combination of more the tried and true old style of doing things and a lot of these new technologies coming forward.
Okay, so to maybe tell us about what you're doing at the university, what your partnership is with them.
At the University of Lethbridge, I'm working with the SimBridge space. SimBridge is unique, I feel, amongst uh, a lot of potential incubator startup groups for more biotech stuff. Other institutions we found, especially in regards to the COVID-19 situation, were not very welcoming and either expected us to have a Silicon Valley level ability of funding and backing in order to do the absolute basics.
Wow. All right. Well, maybe tell us why this partnership with Signbridge is so important to someone like yourself.
If I didn't have the SimBridge relationship, I probably wouldn't have been able to have prototyped it and tested this whole product out. Um, a lot of the asking prices for other places and situations would be like, we either own the technology, we either own most of your company, or you have to give us an exorbitant amount of money for us to even attempt to look at it. Um, a lot of this a lot of this technology is not so out of reach for situations, but being able to have all the infrastructure, all the things in place is a lot to ask of a startup firm. And so that relationship is important just because for a startup in which we're trying to bootstrap things and we're trying to be very lean and make things very quickly and learn very quickly. Other institutions wanted a more corporate, slower pace of things. And we're just trying to, we're a bunch of innovators, we're a bunch of inventors just trying to figure stuff out. And so SimBridge is important because it enables that freedom in order to do what needs to be done.
That's neat. Are you able to give us any real world examples of how your research at the U of L has helped Alberta farmers? I know you talked about the fungicides and you also talked about almost that triage. Do you have a real life example?
Um, since we're a private company, we were very pushing hard for being out there and doing direct interaction. So we're already working, all of our technology, all of our testing is already working directly with Alberta farmers. This is farmer driven in a way. It's very focused on the producer's concerns first and foremost, never mind the research question. And so all of our data has been real world farm data. All of this represents real operations. And they were able to make decisions on their operations based on the data we were able to give. This year we were still testing it. So we did have the caveat of saying that, hey, just do what you usually do. We don't know if this is going to work. But we were able to give everybody the real data set of how the year for 2021 went for them. And so everything we do is real world, already out there, already doing things.
Definitely. So, Brent, what are your goals for the next 5 years for your research and company?
I'm just happy to make it through another year, to be honest with you. I have long-term plans, but I'm kind of at this point just doing it year by year and seeing how it goes and seeing how the traction is. Uh, I'll be extremely happy if I'm still doing this by year 5.
Well, I wish you all the best with that.
Thank you.